coming for you, Michael.
So, there's a new Halloween movie out. I have a couple things to say about it. My buddy Keyzilla is joining me over Discord right now. Has a couple things to say about it, I'm sure. Before we get into this, I will start by saying I don't like this as much as I like the last Halloween movie. But in terms of the franchise as a whole, at least the ones I've seen, the only ones I haven't seen yet are Halloween 3. I haven't seen Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, nor do I fucking care to, honestly. And I have not seen the extended cut of Halloween 6. As far as other sequels in this franchise go, this is definitely one of the better ones. But it doesn't eclipse its predecessor. It almost doesn't eclipse H2O in my opinion. I don't know how you feel about that.
Now, you saw it in a theater, right?
No, I actually watched it on Peacock at home. Although I'm sure this would have been a fun movie to watch in theaters.
Yeah, I kind of watched it the illegal way on my friend's Fire Stick.
Shh, they don't need to know that. This movie definitely lives up to the name Halloween Kills.
Well, what I first want to say is that about a week ago, before the movie came out, there was a petition by somebody because apparently somebody was super offended by the firefighters being slaughtered by Michael Myers. And honestly, all I have to say about that is, well, every single person who's ever been murdered in a horror movie had an occupation. Literally nobody, there's literally no fucking discrimination. Nobody gives a fuck.
Yeah.
It's never a personal attack on their occupation.
No. And we're talking about Michael Myers here. There's no underlying reason for him killing people, at least in Carpenter's original or in David Gordon Green's new Halloween timeline. He just kills. He's just a mass murderer. So everyone is fair game.
Yeah, he's not hunting down his family or being controlled by a fucking cult, which I still think was a stupid idea.
It was. Somebody tried to drop a theory that the Cult of Thorn is somehow going to play a part in Halloween Ends, and David Gordon Green was quick to shut that down. He was like, yeah, there's no cult bullshit going on here. It's just Michael being Michael.
I mean, there was that crazy psychiatrist of Michael's in the last movie, but that was about it. He orchestrated Michael's escape. He wanted to see him kill and even reunite him with Laurie Strode.
I love that that's just a part of this movie now, that this trilogy now is that Michael doesn't remember Laurie. Michael doesn't give a shit about Laurie. It's been 40 fucking years.
40 fucking years. That's longer than the last time. That's longer than his previous imprisonment.
And
how he managed to stay in one spot for 40 fucking years, I have no fucking idea.
Inhumanly patient. That's what it is. It's what Dr. Loomis said in the first movie. He was just inhumanly patient. I appreciate that this movie is completely open about itself. It's a slasher movie, and it's about, you're not coming in this for the deep lore. You're coming here to watch Michael Myers slaughter some people, and you can tell they had more of a budget because the kills are even more brutal. Is what I was saying about the last movie. It's gore, but it doesn't feel like it's gore just for the sake of having gore, which is one of my big problems with slasher films in general. They're usually just, let's throw in buckets of blood and a bunch of tits, and boom, there's your movie. And it's like, yeah, well, that might work if you're 12.
That sounds more like Rob Zombie's movies, but we don't talk about those because, well, like you've mentioned before, you don't go into the origins of a slasher villain like that. You just leave that shit ambiguous as to why they kill.
Yeah, that just kills the mystique surrounding him.
It really does.
Which I love that this movie, I love that David Gordon Green's Halloween now just makes Michael Myers completely unexplainable. He's just a entity that exists.
The embodiment of evil.
I also appreciate that this movie does not care if the character, if whoever's getting killed is old, is young, is a new face to the movie, or was introduced in the last movie, or is a returning character from a previous movie. Everyone, it's like we were saying earlier, everyone is fair game.
I mean, he choked out a fucking kid in the last movie.
Yeah.
Broke his neck against the fucking car door.
Yeah, and who's to say he wouldn't have, if he had succeeded in killing Laurie, who's to say he wouldn't have also killed Tommy Doyle and Lindsay Wallace?
From the first movie, yeah.
Which, dude, Tommy Doyle in this movie, honestly, if you gave Anthony Michael Hall a leather jacket and that took his baseball bat and wrapped it in barbed wire, he looks like comic book Negan.
I am gonna beat the holy fucking fuckity fuck out of one of you.
I honestly think it was... Well, before I say this, what'd you think of Paul Rudd as Tommy Doyle in Halloween 6?
It's been several years since I watched Halloween 6, so I can't even offer a comparison.
Honestly, the actor who played Tommy Doyle in this one honestly looks more roughened and aged than Paul Rudd probably would have anyway, so, yeah.
Yeah, especially because it's Anthony Michael Hall, who most people know from the 80s when he did a string of high school comedy / dramas with John Hughes.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, look at him in The Breakfast Club, and then look at him now, and age hit him like a truck.
I mean, almost getting nervous as a kid will do that to you, and it kind of fits.
Yeah, it does, because he looks like he could actually fuck somebody up. I will say that Nancy Stevens and Kyle Richards, who was Lindsay Wallace in this and in the original Halloween, they both have aged pretty well.
Yeah, but I just wonder why they didn't bring back the actor for Tommy Doyle from the first Halloween.
Who knows? I kind of like how, even though these movies are setting themselves apart from previous sequels, they actually are. They are using callbacks to previous movies. Like, this movie is kind of a combination of, Laurie being holed up in the hospital from Halloween 2, with the truck full of vigilante rednecks from Halloween 4, except this movie handles it better than Halloween 4 did.
Wait, was it 4 or 5 when there was that mob of rednecks?
That was 4.
Okay, because 5 takes place like a year afterwards, I think.
Yep. Which, that movie was a fucking mess.
I mean, the series was originally going to be an anthology, but after the bomb that was Halloween 3, they just went back to turning Halloween into a slasher sequel machine.
Yeah, which it wasn't even supposed to be a franchise to begin with. It just kind of became that. That's sort of another thing that I'm not big on with this movie, is it sequel baits. Without going into spoilers, it sequel baits hard. Like, the last movie, it ended ambiguously, but you could see where it could have been the end, or it could have gone into a sequel. This movie blatantly sets up Halloween Ends, and in my opinion, not in an organic manner. It's just kind of... This feels like... I guess my biggest drawback from this movie is it feels like a bridge movie. Like, they have something... They had something for Halloween 2018, they had something for Halloween Ends, and there's this movie. That can be a good thing, and it can be a bad thing. The movie still has its own undercurrent themes to explore. The big one being how something horrifying and traumatic like Michael Myers murdering people can really drive a town, an entire community, crazy.
Then again, people spent most of the last movie calling Laurie crazy, because Laurie was like, he's the pure embodiment of evil, and nobody believed her until Michael showed up and started fucking shit up. And now she's got a vigilante mob on her side. Definitely not a spoiler because it was obvious in the trailer.
Yeah. Yeah, the whole trailer was setting up this big mob hunt. I will say I'm kind of disappointed that they did fall back on Halloween 2 where Laurie unfortunately does spend a large chunk of the movie. It's this movie feels less like Laurie's movie and more like Tommy Doyle's movie mixed with the entire town of Haddonfield going after Michael. It kind of feels more like it's Tommy Doyle's movie than Laurie's.
He was a key character in the original.
Yeah.
And I think pretty sure, I don't want to do any spoilers, but I'm pretty sure a character was Lonnie, like an older Lonnie.
Yeah, hold on a sec. Lonnie Elam, who was one of the kids who picked on Tommy in the first movie.
And had one of the first few encounters with Michael Myers.
Yeah. After his little run-in with Loomis, somebody else pointed this out, and I kind of agree with them, that this movie is really, really in love with the first movie, because there are a lot of callbacks to the first movie. They reference the first movie a lot, right down to even recreating Haddonfield in 1978. A lot of references to the past movie to the point where it feels like, yeah, we get it. We've seen the 1978 movie. We've seen the 2018 movie. Can we maybe move the fuck forward a little bit?
That's how I feel about a lot of Marvel movies.
Oh my god. This is nowhere near as bad as Marvel. Also, I hope you like the phrase "evil dies tonight," because somebody else pointed this out, that they utter it so many times in this movie you could make a drinking game out of it, more so than the Umbrella logos in Resident Evil Apocalypse. Between the Umbrella logos in Resident Evil Apocalypse and this movie's repeated utterances of the phrase "evil dies tonight," you've got two movies you could pretty much, if you try to do a drinking game of them back to back, you'd be dead. You'd be dead from alcohol poisoning. Your liver would just be like, I give up.
There's also this drinking game called a Stephen King drinking game. It actually comes with a fucking Surgeon General's warning.
Oh, remind me to never take part in that. I don't drink that much anyway.
Water.
Alcohol just tastes like shit. If you were gonna grade this, if you were gonna put it on like from an A to an F, what would you grade it?
I'd give it about a B+.
Yeah, that's same for me. It's a B. It's one of the better sequels, but it doesn't surpass its predecessor. But hey, it's October. You know, sometimes you just want to watch a guy in a foobarred Captain Kirk mask murder a bunch of people for no reason.
Right.
Then next year we got the end of this trilogy coming.
Halloween Ends.
Yep.
Well, it is like a middle movie, so we all pretty sure everyone one of us knew that Michael Myers wasn't going to be dead at the end.
No.
It was obvious because when the sequels were announced, they were both announced at the same time.
Yeah. Which, this was originally supposed to be a duology anyway. This and the last movie were originally going to be filmed back to back. But then David Gordon Green and Danny McBride were like, well, let's take it let's try to just do the 2018 movie first, and we'll see how that pans out. Which is why the 2018 movie ends the way it does.
Still better than Rob Zombie's movies.
Yeah, which I didn't hate Rob Zombie's first Halloween. My issue with it was, apart from it trying to demystify Michael Myers, Rob Zombie has a certain style when it comes to writing that does not translate well to Halloween. It might work out better for something like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but it does not fit the Halloween mold. Because he only knows how to write two characters, jailbait and white trash.
Jailbait. I always laugh at that term, jailbait.
Well, what do you think? That's what they turned Lori and Annie into. Talk about drinking games. You could make a drinking game out of how many horror icons you find in that movie. Between Ken Foray, Danny Trejo, Clint Howard, Udo Kier, fucking Brad Dourif. Another thing I'm not big on with this movie, which it wasn't such an issue in the last one, was, in the last movie, there was a lot of humor in it, but it felt naturally woven in. In this movie, it kind of, there's something a little off about it. Like, you'll have a scene of Myers just brutally murdering this elderly couple, and then it'll cut to this random subplot of these two guys who are now living in the Myers house, and it's like suddenly the movie turns into a sitcom for 5 minutes, and then it's like enough of that scene.
The Myers house. It makes me wonder if it's the house from 1978, but most likely not.
Not really. The first movie was filmed in South Pasadena, California. These last couple of movies, this and the last movie, were filmed in North Carolina, so it's not going to be the exact same house.
But yeah, Halloween Kills, it was definitely worth it. I mean, we all know it was supposed to come out last year, but freaking Corona ruined Corona fucked a lot of shit up.
The crowds are definitely coming back, just depending on the movie you're going to see. The last one I went to go see was Venom, and that was almost a packed house. Which I understand this one is really filling the seats up.
Yeah, I waited 3 years for that one too.
Yeah, this the new Bond movie, of course, is doing really well.
I still have to see it.
Same. And
Daniel Craig's last. I have to see it.
Oh yeah. I will say, but after this, there's not really anything I'm that genuinely psyched for up in the next few weeks up until Resident Evil.
Welcome to Raccoon City, motherfuckers.
That'll probably be the next movie that we do this for.
I'm definitely down for it. I mean, it's nice to see that we're actually getting... It's nice to see we're getting an actual Resident Evil movie, unlike the shitfest that was Paul Witchart Anderson's 6 films.
A.K.A. Paul What the Shit Anderson. But until then, that is going to do it for this video conversation. I want to thank Keyson for joining me. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you later.